Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise and get you the core insights on important topics fast.
Right. Without getting bogged down.
Exactly. So if you want that real understanding, you're in the right place. Today, we're zeroing in on something really central to learning. This link between thinking about your own thinking,
Metacognition.
metacognition, right, and
Yeah.
how well you actually do in school, your academic achievement.
Yeah, we all have those moments, don't we?
Yeah.
Whether you're sort of aware of how you're tackling a problem or which study methods actually work for you. That's pretty much metacognition right there. And what we're diving into is how this ability, understanding and managing your own learning,
Yeah.
how that affects performance over time.
And we've got some serious firepower to unpack this. Not just one study. This is a big meta-analysis from July 2024.
That's right. It pooled results from, get this, 28 different studies, independent ones, and they all followed students over time.
Over time. So longitudinal. That's key, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. They tracked students for months, some even longer, and the total number of students, it was over 71,000.
Wow. Okay.
So this meta-analysis, it gives us this incredible kind of bird's eye view, like assembling all the pieces of a huge puzzle.
Okay, so our mission today, extract the main insights from all this research. Understand how thinking about learning impacts our grades, as things unfold. So what's the headline? The big takeaway.
Well, the main finding, and it's statistically significant, is this clear positive link between a student's initial level of metacognition, how well they think about their learning at the start, and their academic achievement later on.
Later on.
At least 3 months later, according to how they set it up. The correlation they found was R.22.
Right, R.22. And for those of us who don't speak fluent stats, what's that mean practically?
It basically suggests that if you're a student who's already kind of aware of how you learn, maybe planning study sessions, checking if you really get something, you're more likely to get better results down the road. It's not like a magic bullet for straight A's, but that awareness, it gives a noticeable edge.
That feels right, doesn't it? If you're actively thinking about the process, you'll probably learn better. But let's just nail down the basics. Metacognition, in plain English. Sounds a bit academic.
Not really, no. Think of it like your internal learning coach. It's just thinking about how you think and learn.
Okay.
It means knowing what you don't know yet, planning how you'll tackle something like studying for a test.
Right.
Monitoring your understanding as you go.
Yeah.
And then kind of looking back. Did that work? What could I do differently? It's being in the driver's seat of your own learning.
So the standard idea, the traditional view, is that being good at that's what leads to better grades and understanding.
That's been the prevailing thought, yeah. And this meta-analysis definitely backs that up strongly. The evidence points clearly. Students starting with better metacognitive skills tend to achieve more later.
But, and here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The study suggested it might not just be a one-way street.
Exactly. This is a super intriguing part. They drew on ideas from self-determination theory, basically what motivates us, and they asked, could it work the other way too? Could doing well first actually boost your metacognition later?
So good grades might make you better at thinking about learning. That's interesting. Almost encouraging in a way.
It is. So to look into this, they used a more complex analysis called cross-lagged panel analysis.
Okay.
Now, without getting too deep in the weeds, it basically lets you look at both things, metacognition and grades, at 2 time points and see which one predicts the change in the other after you account for stability.
Stability meaning things just staying the same, like good students stay good students.
And exactly. They controlled for that natural tendency for both grades and metacognition to kind of stay stable over time. Those are the autoregressive effects. They wanted to see if one caused a change in the other beyond just that stability.
So they were really trying to isolate the influence in both directions.
And here's the kicker. Even after accounting for that stability, initial academic achievement was a significant positive predictor of later metacognitive levels.
Hold on. So it's not just that thinking smart helps your grades, but getting good grades can actually make you a smarter thinker about how you learn. That feels like a real aha moment.
That's precisely the insight.
Right.
It points towards this reciprocal relationship. A positive feedback loop, maybe?
Wow.
When students succeed academically, it can build their confidence, their sense of competence.
Yeah, makes sense.
And that, in turn, might motivate them to be more reflective, more strategic, which enhances their metacognition even more.
That's actually huge. It implies that, setting students up for success early on could pay dividends way beyond just those first good marks. It could fundamentally make them better learners.
Absolutely. It really shifts the perspective from a simple A causes B to this much more dynamic interplay.
Now, learning's complex, right? It's probably not exactly the same for everyone, everywhere. Did they look at other factors, things that might change this relationship?
They did, yeah. They explored several potential moderators, things that could tweak the strength of this link.
Like what?
Things like the student's age,
Yeah.
gender, the time gap between measurements, their educational stage, primary, secondary, university,
Okay.
cultural context, and even how metacognition was actually defined or measured in the original studies, because that varied a bit.
Right, because different studies might ask students questions versus giving them tasks.
Exactly. And while the overall positive link, both ways, seemed pretty robust across most conditions, they did see some variation.
So it's not uniform.
No, which just reminds us how complex learning is. Things like age, or maybe the specific way metacognition was assessed, could influence how strong the connection appears. But the main point of this paper was establishing that core reciprocal relationship. They flagged those variations as areas for, future research to dig into more deeply.
Okay, so we have this really interesting two-way connection. Thinking about learning boosts achievement, and achievement boosts thinking about learning. What are the practical takeaways for educators, students, maybe even just us lifelong learners?
Oh, the implications are pretty significant. First, that finding about initial metacognition predicting later achievement. It really hammers home the value of teaching these skills.
Explicitly teaching them.
Yes, things like goal-setting strategies, prompting students to monitor their own understanding like, do I really get this? Teaching effective study methods, encouraging reflection.
Right, like self-assessment tools.
Precisely. Those kinds of interventions seem likely to have a real, lasting positive effect based on this.
And the other side of the coin, the achievement-boosting metacognition.
That suggests that creating supportive learning environments where students actually experience success is crucial. Feeling that sense of accomplishment, it builds confidence. And that feeling might make students more willing, more motivated to engage in that deeper reflection and planning the metacognitive stuff that further improves their learning. It's like success breeds success, but also breeds smarter learning habits.
So it's not just about teaching the how, but also creating conditions where they see it working, where they feel successful, which then reinforces the how.
You've got it. Fostering that positive experience, appropriate challenges, constructive feedback, acknowledging progress, it all feeds into this potentially powerful cycle.
Okay. And just circling back quickly, you stressed this was a meta-analysis of longitudinal studies. Why is that phrasing so important?
It speaks to the strength of the evidence. Longitudinal means they track the same individuals over time, so you can see how things change and influence each other, not just correlations at one point in time.
Right, not just a snapshot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And meta-analysis means they combined the findings from many of these longitudinal studies, 28 of them. That smooths out quirks from any single study and gives a much more reliable, generalizable picture. It's just much stronger evidence.
Okay, so let's try and boil this down for everyone listening. This huge review of long-term studies shows pretty clearly that being aware of your own learning helps you do better in school later on. But, and maybe this is the really cool part, doing well in school early on seems to make you better at being aware of your learning down the line.
A two-way street.
Yes. And while other things like age or how you measure this stuff can play a role, this back and forth between, how we think and how we perform seems real and important.
That's a great summary. It captures that dynamic, interconnected relationship.
So for you listening, wanting to get smart on topics efficiently, this deep dive hopefully gives you that shortcut. A clear view based on tons of research about this interplay between thinking and learning.
Yeah, moving beyond just simple cause and effect to something richer.
So maybe a final thought to leave people with. Knowing this, how might we consciously tweak our own learning? Or how might we design education differently to really leverage this two-way connection?
Good question.
Think about how you tackle learning something new. Could you be more aware of your process? And for educators, how do we build environments that not only teach metacognitive skills, but also create those crucial early successes, knowing they might fuel each other?
Definitely food for thought. How to harness that cycle.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.